From the fifth district will give our invitation.
Our most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us all here together tonight. Please lay your hand on us as we make the county's decisions and conduct the business. Please be with all those we have sick and at home stranded. Please continue to bless our county as it's growing as it has been. All these things we ask in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Commissioner White Blushing, would you lead these?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I should have given me some free started home say.
Next is roll call. If you're present, please press your tablet. Stephen Stokes, Marty Douglas, Gary Furr. We have 15 present, 3 absent. We have a quorum. Next on the agenda is the approval of our agenda. Need a motion and a second. So a motion by Commissioner Arnold and a second by Commissioner Fox. All in favor? All opposed, anyone? Agenda is approved. We have one name, Mr. John Lackey.
My name is John Laddick, and I'm here representing the Benton County Volunteers. You know, we're kind of a silent majority. We do all kinds of things, like in the nursing home, used to be in the hospital. We have our, you know, everywhere you look around, we're here, but nobody knows it. And, you know, we're just asking on the thing that we get, you know, a little bit in the budget and have a place to be. You know, we don't ask for much, and we don't, you know, we're not flashy or anything else, but we just want, you know, to help out. After all, volunteers is what Tennessee's all about, you know, and we're not all old people. We got a lot of young people, middle-aged people, and, you know, I'm just saying that you need to consider us a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And that's about all I can say right now. Because there's 70 active members and somewhere around about 140 members altogether here in Benton County. So, anyhow, thank you.
Thank you. Number 3 is the commissioner's forum. Do we have a question? Commissioner Preston, you're recognized.
Chairperson, what I've got to say, I've just titled it A Troubling Subject. Chairperson, I give rise to talk about conversations that I'm hearing describing events, describing activities that need to come to a realization that the words are just not accurate in many cases. When challenges are made to these questions, it leads to a defensive response, a tendency to reject, a tendency to dismiss. In attending many of these meetings since my return home on May the 8th, what I have been witness to continues to somewhat worsen. And I'm talking about the mayor. Most recently, the mayor displayed a sound resolution of dislike when questioned about the revenues at the property meeting June the 9th concerning the 2 property resolutions to purchase property for expanding the airport. The mayor's response was all over the board. The mayor described the dollars for purchasing the Deaton property, for purchasing the Higdon property. They're in the budget. Not true. The mayor described the Deaton property purchase started with Mayor Lashley. Not true. Mayor Lashley had an interest in the Littleton property out at the airport. And that wasn't really even official. The two property purchase resolutions originally didn't even include a dollar amount. And when asked by two on property committee, the mayor was somewhat defiant. Actual facts that we all should be concerned about is the budget that's in work right now, draft 3, showing a school budget underfunded better than $4.5 million. This means $4.5 million more they're spending than they're taking in this year, estimated. A highway budget underfunded better than $533,000. A general fund budget that is underfunded better than $330,000. I understand there have been some corrections and improvements on that. I hadn't saw it yet. Knowing these numbers, the question as to where the money's going to come from, I think should be welcomed. I thank the two commissioners from property for asking the right questions. For at least some commissioners, and I'm one of them, there has become a lack of confidence in what we are being told by the mayor as to the accuracy of facts. This somewhat stems from the bank building purchase. A very planned, a very calculated, first ever spending of new dollars with only a simple majority vote. Activities such as this should make a commissioner more guarded with the county dollars. The mayor told us a year ago in early budget drafts, dollars were appropriated for the purchase of the bank building. Not true. TVA impact dollars. The trustee's office received better than $815,000 from the Treasury of Tennessee on 11/20/24. When asked, the mayor instructed the trustee's office to put these dollars in debt service, the debt service account. Roll the clock forward. During the working of the 2025-26 budget, the budget's being worked right now, the mayor claimed the state required these dollars to be put in debt service. Not true. The mayor laid claim to these dollars can only be used for non-reoccurring items. Not true. The mayor even took credit for these dollars seeing their way to Benton County. Not true. On February the 28th, 2024, the mayor received a letter from Daniel Pratt, Senior Vice President of the Customers and Community Relations, stated Benton County will be impacted by the construction of the gas-fired combustion turbine plant being built in Humphreys County, Tennessee. Impacts are likely increased traffic, increased demand for health services, and increased demand for safety services. That's what TVA impact dollars are. Going forward, my conclusions. Should the mayor continue his path without showing any repairs, then I'm going to respond with my pen that has remained very silent for a long time now. The mayor, better than anybody in this room, knows the strength of my pencil. My sword and my shadow from another planet will be included. We will zoom in on the facts and tell the story through our eyes. The mayor must tap his brakes on his false narratives. The mayor's response to what I've said today will likely be my motivation. The mayor needs to establish a relationship with the truth. I yield the floor.
Do you have any other questions? Mayor Fowler?
I'd like to speak a little bit about what John was coming up and talked about. Of course, he's part of the volunteers that's in the bottom of the election commission. And there's something out there that says we want to move the volunteers in with the senior citizens. They talk about we ain't going to give them no funding because it's going to save us $1,300. Is that still true, Phil?
If they move, yes.
So you're going to fund them?
They do currently have funding in the budget.
But we usually give them $4,000, is that correct?
that was what he's been given to him.
Yeah, and how long in the past?
I can't tell you how.
Pretty good while. But anyways, what the problem is, seems like the election commission just needs a little bit more room, and they want to use the juveniles section to bring people in to vote and bring them in and bring them out, and maybe some storage. But they want to move the juveniles down to the down to the Lower's Park and take over where the volunteers have been for the last 40 years. We've got a lot of buildings out there. Now they want to move the volunteers into a smaller room, one of the rooms at the senior citizens. Well, first thing, you put the volunteers and senior citizens together, that's like putting, the Dodgers and Yankees in the same bullpit playing for the World Series. But, they've been there, that's what he was talking about, he don't want to move. We've got the old mayor's office up here that you can move juvenile into. Or I actually took Wanda, Miss Close with the VA, and showed her the old electric building. I went and talked to Heather about that building. There's enough room in there for Wanda with the driver's license, and Miss Close was ecstatic. She'll be off the corner. She didn't even know what one of the doors was in the back when it was going into the men's bathroom in our office. But we could even put them down there if we didn't want to put juvenile up top. But they've been there, like I said, they've been there 40 years. And we built that building. We've been out probably 1.8, probably 2 million before it's going to be over with on the old Sears building, because we didn't look into it like we let it slide on the first bank too. And you see what it cost us. When you got to meet codes for a government building, it's a lot different than a commercial building. So I'm here to advocate for him. Let's not move these volunteers. Let's not put that extra burden, and I won't call it a burden, but put them in the same place as a senior citizen. All they're going to get is a building, a room, maybe this size right here. And if you'll go down there and look at that before we make a decision on all this, at what they do in the volunteer side of it, then you'll see over $1,300. You shovel all these people into that building and create more time frame, you're going to pay that $1,300 in utilities. But I think we've got the mayor has a new office. We've got an open spot up here. Juvenile would be awesome in that. If not, Wanda, we looked at that. Would you, if this was all to come to pass with a stroke of the pen, sorry about that. But what do you think of that? Do you like that building? Would that be a great asset to you and make the foot traffic out of this courthouse a lot better? You would even open up parking places over here for people else that worked here in the courthouse, so they wouldn't have to walk from all the way over yonder. I don't see how it's not a win-win situation, unless, like Rocky spoke of, is there something in the drawings that the commissioners don't know about? Have we got plans for this old electric building that we don't know about that we haven't decided? But I'm just wondering on that, if there's something there. But I just want to kind of iterate on what John was talking about. He's afraid he's going to get moved, and it's over saving $1,300 on the internet. Is that what it was, Phil?
They were saving, I think it was approximately $1,200, $1,300.
Right.
Not having to pay that.
Yeah, but you think about all these people coming in and all these other things coming in at different times of the night. Now here's the deal. They can't be sucking up much electricity down there as far as heat and air. It's in the basement. Stays cool in the summertime, stays warm in the winter.
You got other groups using that also.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, then you'll have the same thing.
Use it, so.
Right. Well, anyways, we've got a lot of options. We've got the old mayor's office. If Wanda and Miss Close with the veterans thing was to go down there, even kind of looked in on the electronics, maybe $600 to move her equipment down there. The building's awesome, but then we've got the old mayor's office up here that you could use juvenile in. They're right here in the courthouse, and you've got Wanda's office if you decide to do something with it. Anyways, just want to reiterate what John was saying. That's what he's talking about, getting moved out of the bottom of the basement of the old library where they've been for the last 40 years. Thank you.
Any other commissioner?
I just want a real quick statement. I do believe that Chris needs to stay where she's at, underneath that election commission, because that's where she wants to stay. I don't agree with moving them in with the seniors, but what I wanted to bring to everybody's attention is I understand that there are some electrical problems going on in the basement of that election commission. And I'm sure we got some maintenance people that take care of the county buildings. And I just wanted to put before everybody so that we could get this, the attention done with this problem, because it is, you don't mess with electricity, and the election commission is upstairs. It could turn into a bad thing. And I just wanted to put it out there so maybe we can get somebody over there to look into these problems and get them fixed so it won't be a hassle.
All the department heads have to do is tell me, and we send the maintenance guy over there, and if something you can't handle, we call the proper people, but no one said a word to me.
Okay, well, they told me so. I'm letting y'all know there's an issue over there. If you wanna talk to anybody else, John knows, and so does Chris, so, anyway. I'm done.
Commissioner Arnold?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is kind of what Wayne was talking about. You know, Wayne's on the property committee, myself and some others. And since we've got all these buildings, it seems like everybody's just throwing mud on the wall to see what sticks, who to go where, without a plan. Everybody's got an idea. We need to move one, we need to move this one wants this room, this one wants this room. And it's worse than trying to get your daughter a room when you're building a house. You know, everybody wants someone close to the bathroom. The property committee agreed the other night that we need to start meeting twice a month. You know, I think before we start moving people around in these buildings, I was thinking who goes where, that the property committee needs to look at these buildings and let's talk amongst ourselves and come up with some ideas of what could possibly go in these buildings. Yes, Wanda could go there, she could go here, yonder, wherever, but there's other offices that might be able to be moved that would be better in that office, that might, you know, free up some other space that could be used better in the courthouse. We just need to let the property committee look at what goes where, you know, and let us, you know, bring a recommendation back. The commission don't have to vote for it, but I mean, instead of us just throwing mud on the wall and sticking and shoving people around here and there, let us come up with a plan to decide who goes where, what we think should go where as a committee. Bring it back to the commission can vote it down if they want to. They say, no, I don't think it's a good plan, let's come back with something else. But I think instead of, you know, a couple of us just deciding what goes where, that committee needs to handle that. We're gonna meet twice a month and start trying to come up with some plans to find out what we need to do with our buildings. We got some that need some painting done to them, and we need to come back with some recommendations and stuff like that. But I just don't think we need to start just throwing mud up on the wall and see who's gonna go where, just, you know, and just start shoving the people around, cause this is things they wanna go here. I'm fine with leaving the RSVP right where they're at. I mean, they've been there a long time. Again, I don't think it, you know, that would be a good idea to leave them. We can move juvenile offices somewhere, but let us decide what we think would be the best place to move. And then move from there, you know, so it's more just saying, hey, what is going here? You gotta look at how the things will flow, what else could go there, and just kind of make plans that way. But I think the property committee should be looking at that before we start moving people around.
Anyone else?
We did go, Wayne took me and Tina down to the electric company, and when all this first started, that was the first spot that I was going to move down there, so that's where that's still happening from, what we need room, so that is what's happening. But I did text all the property committee the other night, because I had asked Mark myself, if I could put that kiosk machine in that front room. There's nothing in there, it's closed. We're out there constantly, because we brought it in to try to help the county. Holding that cardboard up, you know, spread your paint all over, they come by like and stare all day. If I could just put that machine in there, but there's no sun, but you told me I needed to wait. Is there a reason? I mean, I told you I'd bring it out once, but when we did all this first started, everybody did talk about us going down there, and I did go see it. It is nice, but I would like to have some more room. But if you're not going to use the mayor's office with us, I was just wondering what you're going to use it for.
Well, I mean, that's what we gotta look at and plan, you know, is decide what makes it better there. You know, Veterans Affairs Office, if they go to the customer room, they wanna need a lobby or an office, and if you've got an office behind where Charlie and them's at the job, but you just got a doorway you already into your office.
Well, to me,
But
it's hard to
again,
think
that's-
it would be a problem with me using that phone, did you, Mark?
But I think we need to plan that.
I said that's what I had planned, but
Just to use it till, I mean,
I said that's what I had planned because the state had been talking to me and saying that they needed a spot for a driver's testing facility. And if we could give them that room, then they would move a full driver's testing facility in here as soon as possible. But they put the kiosk in the lobby because that's the only place we had for it at the time. And I didn't have a problem with it, but, some of the commissioners read a rule that I don't have the authority to tell you that, so I said you need to talk to
And
property.
that's what I did, so I didn't go over his head, is what I'm hearing right now, I didn't have to start. Then text all y'all, and then I got the response that I needed to write, I mean, I can pull that machine, right, it goes back in, but, I mean, it's all that time. I just wanted to know that the electric company, it would be nice with the testing center and us and team.
Well, it'd be nice for the citizens of Benton County to have a driver's testing facility
Yes.
where they don't have to go to Paris or Union City and wait 4 hours to get their driver's license.
And that's what Kenny wanted to talk about too, because I told him about how many, if you knew how many people come from here, from Dixon, Waverly, from Nashville, Brewston, Nathan Jackson, and even Harris people come over here when we were doing the driver's license before they took them away. We were doing more than Paris. So, I mean, I think it would benefit our county.
Most definitely.
It would.
Can I respond to this? I know we need a driver's license testing center, but something that you've got to consider is the parking. If you have been over to Paris to that, testing center, you're gonna find about 40 to 50 cars parked out there in that parking lot. They have a huge parking lot for the people that go there. My concern is, and I'm not against it, I'm for it, for us to get one. Where are the people going to park down there at the electric system? Are they gonna park up and down Church Street? Are they gonna come and take up all the parking spaces around the court square and walk down there? That's something that we need to consider, that I have not heard anybody say anything yet about where's the parking going to be for all these 40 to 50 people that go over to Paris every day. Because we're gonna get a lot of people, just like Wanda said.
And they come in and park there.
Not when you had a testing center. We never had a testing
We
center.
did use renewals. We did.
Well, I did too,
I know,
remember?
but they all come parked around, I'm just saying, I'm not against you
Yeah.
saying that, but I'm just saying, I think it would be under us.
It would benefit us, but we gotta think about where to put it for the parking. I don't think the people on Church Street would be very happy if cars start parking up and down the street there, or they start going off those little squares. We have a problem with parking around the court square now. So I'm just saying, let's think about the parking. That's all I gotta say, Commissioner Arnold.
Wayne first.
Yeah, you know, I was just gonna say that, if you put that, I've never seen a state working out of inside the courthouse. And if you think you put that testing right there in that courthouse, you got the same problem, if not worse.
It wouldn't
But
work in the
down
courthouse.
there, you can probably park 25 cars down there, in that parking lot. Because, you know, it used to be the electric company, everybody rolled in there at the last time. You know, and people squeeze in over behind Mr. Whitworth. People squeeze in where they want to go, depends what they're coming for. But if you're standing any chance, I think, I've never talked to the state, but I wouldn't, if I was a state employee, and that's who will be giving your driver's license tested, I wouldn't, there's just not enough room inside our courthouse to do that. I mean, unless you give them this room right here. And here's another thing you gotta take off. You gotta take off where they're gonna start driving from. They're gonna try to come around this square when they're giving their driving test, or it'd be easier to pull out on Church Street, head down there and make the loop around the bypass, catch full for
My
Or stops.
understanding was they wasn't gonna do the driving part, it's just the test.
just the testing. But it's just, there's a lot more room down there. But anyways, like you said, like Keith says, property needs to consider what's fair for the taxpayers, what's best for the taxpayers here in Benton County. And we're spending a lot of money, that we don't need to be spending. And the budget.
Okay, I think, Dwayne, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think we need to move on because we've
Yeah,
talked
it's
about
fine.
this
It's
a
fine.
lot.
We burnt
And
the
we'll
bridge.
talk about this a lot more in property.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Anyone else?
Yeah, we've got a schedule June the 26th, additional property committee meeting. So the property committee, it's, 11 o'clock, and the location to be determined.
Okay. So did everyone hear that? Property's going to meet June the 26th at 11, but I guess we'll let you know where it's gonna be, where it'll be held. Okay, let's move on to the, Mayor, do you have anything you want to say?
Not really, I kind of want to address, some of the things that were said that I probably shouldn't. I just know that the public should know that it's only a year or so before the election, so you have a few people that's already starting to campaign on county time. I don't appreciate that. They can do what they want to.
Okay. Number 5 on our agenda is the approval of our minutes. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Commissioner Arnold and a second by Commissioner Price. If you're in favor of the, approving the minutes from the last month, please say aye.
Aye.
If there's anyone that opposes the minutes, okay, ayes have it. Number 6 is the report of public utility. Need a motion and a second. Have a motion by Commissioner Arnold and second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Number 7 is the first resolution that we have tonight, which is a resolution by Sheriff Ken Christopher to budget funds in the amount of $500 received from various sources to appropriate line items in the sheriff's budget for expenditure. We have a motion by Commissioner Keene and a second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions for the sheriff? Okay, I see none, so please vote.
You want to change your vote? Motion carried, 15 yes.
Number 8 on your agenda, and it is Resolution 2. It's another resolution by Sheriff Ken Christopher to seek approval from the Commission to authorize Mayor Mark Ward to apply and, if approved, execute contracts and perform other required functions on behalf of Benton County for the 2025 COPS hiring program grant. I have a motion by Commissioner Bain and a second by Commissioner Price. Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, what is this? What is it, Kenny? I didn't read all of that good. I apologize.
It's a grant where they would pay over a 3-year period, our 3 officers, each one of them, like, up to $125,000. The county has to be obligated to act on after that for at least 2 more years. They would pay 75% of the salary for the first 3.
Right.
Up to $125,000 per officer.
But then we're obligated to 2 years.
At least 2 years.
Any other questions? Okay, who would like to speak?
It's gonna be a maintenance effort after the grant's done.
It might depend on how it's made. If it's done through normal payroll, yes, it would be. If it's done through a grant payment, it may not be, because it's not obligated to continue in a contract to that effect. But I would think if we were moving forward and had the officers for 5 years, that we would continue. I don't really see what happening, but it depends on how it is configured as to now.
Could we use those officers, those next 2 years to fill slots that are already in payroll slots?
No.
Can't do that, they're additionals.
If you did that, you would actually put them in line to that, because you would be, in areas that are maintenance now.
Are we short on officers now?
What would like to do?
Anyone else have a question before you vote? Kenneth, did you want to say something else?
I just assumed it'd be a maintenance effort that we have to honor after the grant was done.
Any way we can keep it so it ain't don't mean it's bad, but any way we can keep it so it won't be a maintenance effort, do something that we wouldn't have to worry about?
I don't believe there's any way that you could fit this after us without making it a position, maintenance of effort where you would maintain the positions, and also the salary would be maintained. I don't think there's any way you can do that.
Sheriff, did you want to say something else?
Yes, ma'am. While we're on this subject right here, so that the Hall County Commission knows, I did put in 3 additional officers this year, request in our budget. It's the same request I made for the last 11 years. That we pick up some more officers. We haven't changed the size of this department in so long. I know it's expensive, but crime has changed over the last 20 years. And, I said before, when the calls used to, you send one officer out, but you can't anymore. It's a lot different. We're gonna protect the citizens in this county. And I just thought that's what we was here for. My job is to anyway. I think it's all of us' job. And I think we need more officers in this county. It's just not feasible. 2 cars rolling out here on the night shift and take care of 741 miles of road. I brought in the statistics and showed you before. And even if we had 3 more officers, we're only gonna get 75% what's recommended in a rural area in Benton County to take care of as many residents as we have. So I just want everybody to know that we have put in for that, but it's no different than I put in for the last 11 years. So anyway, I want you to make you aware of it. We do need more officers in this county if we're gonna keep it safe.
And we've also discussed in the budget, the fact that you have 14 slots for deputies, and you have not maintained 14 slots for any length of time. Therefore, if you can't maintain 14 slots, how do you expect to maintain 17 slots? That's extra money, that's 3 salaries that we have to maintain, through property tax. And I also stated that if we could get the 14 and maintain them, probably certified, not just somebody retired off the street, then I don't have a problem with trying to bring in additional officers. And the grant that we're looking at here would be a lead-in to doing that.
I see what you're saying, but I'm also saying that I'm gonna have to go a whole other year that I can't even interview people because the money's not there. I mean, harm if I do that. And as far as getting them certified, we're doing the same thing they're doing all over the state of Tennessee. Everybody's getting their officers in as fast as they can to get them certified, but there's only so many slots. We've been able to get 2 officers in each 12-week school, and they're scheduled all the way into next year. So we're doing it as fast as the state will allow us to do it. But if I don't have the option, then we'll never move forward. We'll keep sitting right there from now on. So if you're serious, way off.
I don't believe we do.
Well, that's your belief. That's all I got.
Commissioner Arnold?
Sheriff, do you have some stats that you can bring to us showing us where the majority of your calls are they in south end, the north end, the middle, where, you go? I'd like to see that. I mean, I can tell you probably with folks that because I listen to the scanner all night long. But, I think some of the other officers, commissioners might need to look and see where you're having to roll from in order to try to cover the areas. Our county is so long, and I understand, I don't want to pay no more property taxes than anybody else does, but I want my kids to be protected, I want my neighbors to be protected, and I know there's a lot that goes on in our area, and it's so hard to cover. But I would like to see if you got some call stats, saying, hey, we entered this month, calls to the south end or the north end or the middle, something like that. If you could provide us with that, get an email or something like that, I would, be glad to talk for you. I appreciate it.
Anyone else? Right, we're back to the resolution. So if you're in favor of the resolution, vote aye. If you're not, vote no.
Is it too late for another question?
Already started voting.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 14 yes, 1 no.
Resolution 3, which is number 9 on the agenda, is a resolution by Mayor Mark Ward to seek approval of a permit for use of real property by federal agency and permission to enter into a contract agreement with local employees of the Department of Health and Human Services for the use of county-owned office space. I need a motion to bring it to the floor in a second. The motion is by Commissioner Melton and a
I
second.
want to back up, I do not want to make that motion.
Okay.
This is those two women. This is those two women.
You have to start over with it. Take them both off. Okay, now we're back to this resolution. I need a motion to bring it to the floor.
You got one.
Okay, Commissioner Miller? Do I have a second? Okay, a second by Commissioner Murphy. Okay, now we can bring it up for discussion. Does anyone have anything they want to say about this? Commissioner Price?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I won't take long. There was some discussion about this resolution the other night in property and also in budget. And I have some issues with this resolution. It says it's permission to enter into a contract agreement with local employees of the Department of Health and Human Services for county-owned office space. And it talks about a permit for use of real property by a federal agency, not by an individual. It's in relation to local federal HHS employees proposed to use office space for carrying out their federal duties. I won't go on into that, but there was an attachment in everybody's packet. It says ASPR, which is a subsidiary, my understanding, of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, ASPR, Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response. A lot of disaster stuff, is my understanding, things like that. And this was a copy of the permit that everybody's got in their packet. It's a 2-page document. It's kind of confusing for me because if the intent was to rent to individuals, why have we got this document, which is a government document? It's kind of confusing for me. But going ahead, it talks about in this document, down under number 10, general conditions, A, the use and occupancy of the property shall be without cost or expense to the HHS ASPR and under general supervision of the Benton County government or its authorized representatives. On the second page, on the back, is a signature page. It is predated, it's dated March the 6th of this year, which is back earlier. And on one side, there's a blank signature spot for a lady named Helga Scharf Bell. Title is Director, Office of National Disaster Medical System. The other side is for the mayor to sign if there was an agreement reached. Well, I wondered who Miss Scharf Bell, Miss Helga Scharf Bell was. So I went on the internet, and I like the internet because you can find a whole lot of stuff on there. And I wondered who Dr. Helga Scharf Bell was. And I thought she was in Jackson, and that's why we got this request. She's not in Jackson. She's down in Atlanta, which is Region 4 for the United States. She is, and she's got enough credentials, it looks like an alphabet after her name. The lady's well accomplished. She's in Washington, D.C. She is the National Director of National Disaster Medical System and ASPR Chief Nursing Officer at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. That's a mouthful. Washington, D.C. I'm sorry, I apologize if I seem a little agitated by this, but I am. I don't think this lady, being in Washington, D.C., had time to write this. Just saying. Okay? Everybody understand that? So I also went on and I typed in, how does the U.S. government go about renting office space? The U.S. government primarily uses the General Services Administration, which is a GSA, to lease office space. Okay? I went back in and I typed in, does the GSA allow employees to personally rent office space? The answer is no. The GSA does not allow employees to personally rent office space. The GSA's role is to manage federal real estate and provide workspace for government agencies, not for individual employees to lease space for personal use, according to GSA's website. So, something tells me this is not above board. A lot of you watch the TV and you see the senator down in Louisiana, Senator John Kennedy, I believe his name, he comes up with a good one. As I heard him say recently, this one's flaky as mom's homemade biscuits. Sorry, I can't support it. I will not be supporting it. I encourage my fellow commissioners to not support this in any way. Thank you. I yield the floor.
May I respond to that? Please.
Yes.
I never asked y'all to support this. I had 2 employees to ask me if we had an office space available. And I said, you're welcome to go before the commission and see if they're willing to do that. It was for the federal government, and that's the reason that you have the forms that you have, because they won't pay for an office space, but they will accept an office space for their employees if it's free from a local government. And that's the reason that this contract was brought before y'all. If you want to do it, fine. If you don't, fine. It don't matter to me. The employees came to y'all's meeting, I don't remember which meeting it was, and explained this in detail, that they were willing to pay the county for the office space if they would lease it to the government for free. So y'all have all the information I have on it. I just relayed the message and gave you the documents that was provided to me from these 2 employees. So.
Commissioner Arnold?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I'm not mistaken, this did come before property, and we did not recommend this. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
4 to 1 vote. Yeah, it was 4 to 1 against it in property. I personally feel like we're setting a bad precedence on this. We may have some offices in the building, but, you know, when you start renting it out to individuals, what's to say that somebody else that works in the government agency decides they don't want to have to drive to Jackson? I did ask Ms. Plum, a friend of Ms. Plum, that night, you know, what, you're just not wanting to drive to Jackson. She said, that's right, I just don't want to drive to Jackson. And I don't mind not driving to Jackson or anywhere else. But I just feel like it would be setting a bad precedent for us to turn around and lease the office building to an individual. And I think what they want to pay is $100 a month. And I mean, that's not enough to cover the toilet paper in the bathroom. So more or less electricity than anything else. So again, I'm not in favor of it. I wasn't in favor of when she brought it up the first time, and it did not pass properly.
I wish I could speak as good as he does.
Anyone else? Okay, if you're in favor, vote yes. If you're not, vote no. Yeah, oh, here it is. No.
You all wish to change your vote? We have 1 yes and 14 no. Motion failed.
Resolution 2, which is, we've already had that one. Resolution 4, which is number 10 on your agenda. It's a resolution by the mayor to seek approval and passage of proposal of acceptance from TDOT concerning the Fern Avenue Bridge over Cane Creek in Camden. We have a motion by Commissioner Arnold and a second by Commissioner Price. Any questions? I see none, so everyone please vote.
Anyone want to change your vote? Okay, it's a yes.
Number 11 is Resolution 5. It's a resolution by the mayor to seek approval and permission to enter into and execute contracts/agreements for the purchase of land currently owned by Lisa Higdon, adjacent to the Benton County Airport for the purpose of future airport growth. I have a motion by Commissioner Arnold and a second by Commissioner Holland.
Madam Chair, we need to amend this resolution. All the commissioners should have Amendment 1 to Resolution 5. It basically places a dollar amount of $32,000 on the resolution.
Okay, are you making the
Yes,
motion to amend? Okay, we have a motion to amend
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Nunnery. Does everyone have the amendment in front of them? Do you have any questions about the amendment?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to amend the amendment. And I would like in paragraph 3, where it says, whereas Mayor Mark Ward requests approval and permission from the Benton County Commission to purchase this land on behalf of Benton County, period. Strike everything after that, the $32,000. Paragraph 4. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Benton County, Tennessee, assembled in regular session on this 16th day of June, 2025, that Benton County Mayor Mark Ward be authorized, strike everything after that, the $32,000, and replace it with, to negotiate the purchase price and return with the resolution to the Commission for approval of the money to the purchase price before any contract can be signed.
Have you got that written down?
I do.
Okay.
I can read it again.
Wait, okay.
Paragraph 3, I think we're good, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Paragraph 4, after authorized, strike everything to $32,000 and replace it with authorized to negotiate the purchase price and return with a resolution to the Commission for approval of the purchase price before entering into any contracts. Period.
Will this be new money?
No. You're reducing the dollar figure to be negotiated.
Yes. That's the point.
So that won't be new money?
No, the money's in there, but
Is it in the earmark for it already or something?
it's sitting in a line item for purchase, yeah. I mean, this wouldn't change that. It's not an appropriation. It's just changing the language of the resolution to take out the dollar figure and as I just asked Terry to negotiate a price and whatever the price is, bring it back to the commission.
So we got money in there.
Well, it depends on if it's negotiated for more than what's in the budget, then that would.
So there is something in the budget already for Mr. Eaton and Mr.
There is,
Specifically for Eaton?
there's not specific. There is money in 189 capital account, and I can't tell you the line item for purchasing of property.
Has it got Martha Jordan's name on that?
It's got-
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. No.
Motion was made, it needs to be seconded before discussion.
I'll say,
I would like to say one thing before you go further. Y'all haven't, voted on the first motion or the first amendment
Don't
yet.
have to.
Could I finish my
Oh,
statement?
sure, yes, sir, go ahead.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
So if I could get my train of thought back, what I was gonna say is, this money was in the budget. This is something that has been going on and in the budget since 2019, I believe. Rocky says I'm lying about that, but I'm not. We have failed to be able to negotiate an agreement with the people to expand the airport to where the state says we need to expand it, the Board of Aeronautics. They've got a map, we can bring it up if you want to see it, of what they have proposed in 2019 that Mayor Brett Lashley signed off on and said that he agrees that that's what we need to do. I have just been negotiating with these people because the money was in the budget, and I have finally come to a resolution with them. They're wanting to help with the county and to move the airport forward. This is not something that's going to have an effect this year or next year probably, but it's going to get us in compliance with the Aviation Board to be able to move forward in the future. So to change that and say to go negotiate, I have already come up with a negotiation with them. That's the reason I have this resolution before y'all. I have not made a deal, I've not signed anything, but I have negotiated and we've talked, and this is what they have come up with, that they would accept for their property. So I'm bringing it before you to see if you want to do it. I mean, y'all can postpone it if you want to, but the money that is in the budget is in there for it, for this property. And it has been since 2019. It's just been rolled forward because no one has went out there and negotiated with them to try to make the deal happen.
If it is postponed, the money will simply roll into the next year's budget.
But the money, does it say for Deaton's property? And
It
he's talking about,
does not say for deed property, it is there to purchase property, and there's notation, but that does not mean that's all that it is for. You don't just,
how much is it,
I
75,000?
believe 75.
But I thought that actually said Martha Gordon. But on the other side, there is an airport layout plan, folks. And, you know, you make an airport layout plan, you can do this, you can plan what you want to do, and it's approved by the aeronautics. But how you do it, whether you buy this whether you do this, it's up to you. If you're going to use the FAA loans, and Ms. Rita can probably talk about that, you know, you got to have environmental pulled on it, or you can have an individual. Of course, we've always talked about the airport property. The government wants you to buy as much airport property as you can. I mean, that's just a known fact. I mean, they don't make it no more around it. But there's nothing out there telling us that we've got to buy that land. There is an airport layout plan. It does have 6 or 7 hangars on it. And you can either go through the, and I maybe half partial wrong about that, but you can go through the FAA, but you then got to have a environmental done on it, or you can let the individual that comes up there and builds a commercial or corporate hangar.
Commissioner King, you're recognized.
Thank you. The other night, Mayor, I thought you said this money was not negotiated, that you could spend up to $32,000, but you were gonna get it for less than that.
No, I didn't say that.
You didn't say that, okay.
No, I told y'all that we had talked about it and I can get both pieces of property for $32,000 each. And y'all said that you wanted to amend it so I wouldn't go over that, and that's what the amendment was in your committee meeting, for me not to go over what I had stated. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody else that was there, but that's what was said.
I knew Phil was sitting in on that, and he said it had Martha Jordan's name all over. Nothing but the deed.
Did you say that, Joe?
I don't, and I didn't say that in that
Yes, you
meeting.
did. You said that $75,000 for Martha.
I didn't even have anything in front of me that I,
We turned around,
the
you said
question was
that.
that there was money there. But, Dwayne, what I'm saying is, just because there's a notation outside it, that doesn't mean that's all that there is that the money could be used for. There may be a notation, because a lot of times there's notations out there.
That's what I'm finding out.
But
There's excuses for a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff.
Commissioner Arnold, you're recognized.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Other night at the property committee meeting, this was discussed in detail. And we did amend the original one too. When the mayor told us, you know, he talked to him, $32,000. I made an amendment to the resolution for it not to exceed $32,000. That way, and it did pass the property committee with the amendment on it. On this amendment that Commissioner King's bringing up, I mean, if we approve this, taking out that he signed the contract, he's got to sign the contract if we approve it anyway. And there ain't gonna be much negotiation because they already know what we want to give them because they already talked about it. So, I mean, I ain't saying it's a bad thing, but I mean, you come to me and I already know you're gonna give me $32,000, I ain't gonna negotiate no more. You know, it's pretty well a done deal. So, not your amendment, I mean, I just think that it passed the committee meeting, with something to be built on it in a year or two, I don't know. But it does join our airport, and I do think that the Jordan property I'm talking about, is property that they would like to have in the future, but they have not come to no negotiations with them or talked to them about getting a price on it or anything. Why don't we have an opportunity to buy this property, square off what's on that plan, and get it past the committee with $32,000. That's just my comments.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's something that would benefit the county in the future for sure. But it would straighten up the property lines. Both of those pieces of property come in at a point into the airport property, even past our fence, where the fence has been put up. So it would correct a couple of problems, but there's only 3 pieces of property that are around the airport that can be bought to actually help with T-hangers or hangars, and these are 2 of those properties. The other one is the Jordan property. Hadn't had any good negotiations with them about theirs. And if we back out on this one, who knows what's gonna happen in the future if the property will ever be available to the county again. It could just hamstring us as far as moving forward and being able to expand when we do need to.
Commissioner Preston.
Thank you, Chair. Rita, that operates the airport, I think Benton County is very fortunate to have her. I hope that she stays with Benton County. I'm for improving and enlarging and growth at the airport. When it comes to the conversation about budget, there's not a person in this room that can show me there's money appropriated for a Deaton or a Higdon purchase in the budget. It's not there. I challenge you, Mayor, I'll challenge you, Chairman of the Budget, show me. I give the floor.
The chairman has just stepped out, Chairman of Budget. He'll be right back.
I just want to say, I've never had a resolution put before us to purchase land, which we don't even know how much land we're purchasing, or how much the cost of this land is, what kind of land it is, or nothing. It could be a ditch for all we know. We don't know how much, I mean, surely it's not a half an acre for $32,000. There's nothing in either one of these resolutions that says how much land it is that we're purchasing. I mean, who does that, really? When you buy land, you wanna know how much land you're buying. You wanna know what the price is, and it's gotta be in black and white. And I'm done.
While we're waiting on the chairman, could we have Miss, the administrator at the airport to come and show the map, just so people understand that we had that at the committees if you were there, but.
Ms. Rita, would you like to come forward, please?
Madam Chairman, point of order again. I made the motion. Did we get a second?
Okay, well, we're gonna vote on your amendment right now then. Ms. Rita, would you give us just a minute to vote?
I've got time to discuss it. I was just.
No, we're gonna go ahead and vote as soon as, Mr. Melton takes his seat. Okay, what we're voting on is the amendment that Mr. King, what?
You have a copy of what you wanted to change?
I got some chicken scrap.
Okay, did everyone understand Mr. King's amendment? I've got it scribbled down, but if you wanna read it one more time before we vote.
One more time, Madam Chair.
Okay.
All right. Third paragraph, after Benton County, add a period and delete everything up to the 32,000. Paragraph number 4, after County Mayor Mark Ward be authorized, add, delete everything after authorized and replace it up to 32,000 and replace it with to negotiate the purchase price and return with a resolution to the commission for approval of the purchase price before any contract is signed.
Okay, does everyone understand? Okay, we're voting on amendment that he just read.
Anyone wish to change your vote? 6 yes, 9 no, 3 yes. Motion
Okay,
amendment.
the amendment to the amendment failed. Okay, I'm sorry. Ms. Rita, would you like to come forward now?
Next resolution.
Okay, what is it?
Someone have some questions I need to answer?
I just
About
thought
the
that-
map?
I just thought you had the map that we could put up and show everybody exactly the land we're talking about.
Scott,
Not only is it for this resolution,
You have
but it's also for the next resolution.
map? I sent it to you? The ALP? No? Okay. I emailed it to you. It's okay. It's okay. Can I
You
do a
have it in-
screen share?
You have it in print, don't you?
I do. Okay, we'll use print. I did. I can use print if you want me to. I knew I should have texted you today.
Okay, we'll take a 10-minute break, please, while he's getting this ready.
What are we, chicken dinner?
Uh-oh, might be in trouble.
Your spare time.
Chris put the one Facebook.
Resolution should have is negotiate and bring it up. Micromanage the executive.
Okay, this is the airport layout plan. This is the airport layout plan. So, here is where you come in and park, and that's where you come into the building to meet. Okay, this is the whole apron area. And the blue are all the box hangers. These are the current 2 rows of T-hangers. And this is the proposed expansion. Well, that's the north side, that's Miss Jordan. That's proposed on the north. And then here's where we're talking about. So the yellow line is the current property line. It is. And the P, the PP, you can read it on the document. Here.
So the blue line?
Proposed. That's called proposed property. Right. Yes. This is what's called our airport layout plan. Correct. It's that V. You see, we don't need, and I have spoken to the mayor about that, we don't need to take part of her pond. That's that's being overly aggressive with acquisition. If we come down with a reasonable maintenance area around it, that's more than enough at that end. And I think the smaller we can keep the footprint with her on that approach or her family in the future, the better it will be. You know, the less impactful that we can be, but still accomplish. No, that's not in the near future. Yeah, that's not in the near future at all. Yeah, that's okay. That's why I'm here.
Well, at the beginning of the process, but what kind of deal? 2 acres here, 2 acres here. This one, we'll approve it in the budget, we'll approve it, bring it to the full body. That's what I did. Okay, exactly. You know, that's what it is. Yeah, but he's got to call it full body. He's taking all the things. I know, but it. But I did
He can get on a roll. I'm gonna have to put him on a low dose blood pressure pill soon. It's gonna be mandatory when you clock in, take the blood pressure pill.
And y'all, he is 64 years old. Got everybody back? Okay, Rita, you can have the floor now and tell us what you want to tell us or show us.
Okay, so those of you that are familiar with the airport, this is your entry road coming in currently. This is where you would park, and this is the main terminal building right here where my office is located. The brown is the proposed apron expansion. The green are future possible locations according to the airport layout plan that was designed in 2019. The yellow is indicating our current property line, and the blue is the proposed property line. So the one resolution is talking about this V right here. And when we're talking about the Deaton property, we're talking about this portion right here that goes up to that V and comes up that way. This is the Jordan property that so many have mentioned this evening. It's considering we're having no conversations at all about this, I don't foresee this to be anything that we move on anytime in the near future. Mayor Ward and I have also discussed, the need to not go that far west with that property acquisition, bringing that line down more closer to the proposed apron expansion down this way. But this is the two parcels that we're talking about tonight. I spoke also about the P3 program and property for those of you that weren't there. What P3 is private and public partnerships. And what that encompasses is individuals and corporations that come in and desire to build their own hangar. And what we do at that point is get approval on the facility they're wanting to build. Those will come with a ground lease, because all construction of hangars should come with a ground lease, because they are taking and making use of airport property for a certain number of years. Whatever is agreed upon by the airport board and the county commission as to what those terms look like, they will be very individualized based off of what type of facility they're wanting to build. So with this plan, this gives us an outer perimeter of all of those proposed buildings. Those buildings could end up larger, and it could end up more buildings, just leaving a good access way to get aircraft in and out of each of those. These are not a plan. These taxiway connectors, that is not in, doesn't have anything to do with our plan at this time. But this is our current airport layout plan, which was proposed in the layout that was expected to come to fruition from August of 2019. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Okay. Your airport layout plan, the FFA or the Mr. JP, what is that? The airport.
JP Sawvector is the director of TDOT Aeronautics.
Aeronautics, that's what I'm doing. But yeah, this is a plan. This ain't, they ain't telling you to buy this. They're telling you it's okay to get it, that it would work. But on these green dots, these either corporate or T-hangers, whatever you decide to do there, you still got to pull an environmental on it, correct?
Well, as I told you today when you were at my office, I had to do environmental to install security cameras.
Oh, you got to do
that. That is not something that is overly expensive or very time consuming, and it is also involved in my apron expansion grant, which I told you about earlier at my office.
That's if you go through a FAA, right? But we talk about the environmental. Yeah, for security camera, I see it being a little less, but you look at the terrain on that right there, and I walked up there and looked at it. It's got some, it's got some gullies you got to do in it. But when you do the corporate PE, the PE side of it, the person comes and builds everything themselves, correct?
Oh, I don't know what you mean by everything.
Well, the whole building, you see.
They do.
They build it all, right?
They build the building.
They build the building.
Correct.
Just from one, and then we determine, do we give it to them free for so how long for building the building and turning it over?
Well, there will be a contractual agreement of, one, what are they building? Because we want to make sure
Well, you got to build it to that spec right there because that's your layout plan.
No, you don't.
You don't, so that don't mean nothing.
That's called revising your airport layout plan.
Okay.
If you have a large corporation that wants to move into your airport and build a large facility, like you're always comparing our airport to Carroll County. We are nothing like Carroll County. Carroll County has full access to their box hangars. Therefore, they have 2 medevac helicopter units stationed there. They have a state police helicopter stationed there. They have a corporate jet stationed there. So if we are finally able to accommodate people like that, we would evaluate what they're wanting to build, see where it fits on our property, and make use of that property in whatever way the people that are seeking to move to our airport want to do. Because that brings in a tremendous amount of fuel cells to our airport. And it also allows a building to be built on our property that inevitably we will own.
But no matter what, whether it's a PE build or a FAA loan build, it'll still have to have another environmental, right? To build on that. And how much have you done?
That will be done through my apron expansion grant.
Apron.
Yes, the brown, all of this area here, I thought we covered this today. All of this area here is called an apron or ramp. We typically call it at a GA airport an apron. And that is what this is. All of this brown is an apron expansion. And I have a grant in motion for that expansion.
Have we got it yet or?
Well, no, I've got 3 projects that I'm working on right now. You've seen me doing one today. So that's why I have an airport capital improvement plan. I have a 6 to an 8 year plan in motion at all times. And that is in motion, but as far as being awarded that, no, because I'm not ready to do that. I have had to create a priority list at our airport. I did that list 2 years ago, and I'm still working off of that priority list. So I checked another project off today by getting that transition repair done, like I did the taxiway connector, the crack seal repair, the jet pump, all the roofs leaking at the terminal building, all of those things. I had to prioritize all of the things that had to be done. And when I get down to where I can do grants like that and projects like that, that's when I will file. Because as project costs change, what I make my grant request for will have to be within what those charges are going to be for us to get that work done. So I don't apply today for something I'm going to do for 3-4 years down the road.
So you talk about the grant side on the fuel pump thing. Is a grant going to help us pay for that tanker? Is it still there or not for fuel, the rental tanker? for your jet fueling?
Well, the fuel truck was there today when you were there. Yes, that has nothing to do with a grant.
Okay,
No.
I thought you said your grant was paying for the jet fuel thing and all that, I apologize.
No, that was my jet pump.
The jet.
I used my maintenance grant to buy a new jet pump when I first came because the jet pump was in a Rubbermaid container. And jet fuel is our highest selling fuel. So it's imperative that we have an up and running jet pump. So I bought that with a maintenance grant. That cost us
Yeah, like I
nothing.
told you out there, we've got 20 hangars. I looked at your waiting list, like you talked about, and you've got some waiting lists there.
Mhm.
But, you know, I just can't see, I'd like to know if we spend $32,000 of money that, I know you say it's appropriated, Phil says it is, but everything I see is just like Rocky says, it's for the Jordan property.
Well, I think Phil clarified that and said that is a side note. That was done obviously prior to my
And
appointment.
I don't understand why we keep rolling money over.
Because when you don't,
Bring in 5 years after the fact.
when you don't have people that move in this direction to grow and improve our airport, that's why money gets moved and rolled year after year, like Phil said, in property. That money gets moved when no one moves forward. If you
Growing
just
is great.
sit there on the airport, things like this don't get done.
Growing
Jets
is
don't
great
come
when
in.
you ain't losing money.
I'm sorry?
I said, growing is great when you're not losing money.
Well, I gave you my revenue sheet. Have you ever seen revenue? If you looked at the final bottom number, I gave you a new revenue sheet today.
You did.
Let's get back on track, you know,
Yeah.
we're supposed to
Have
be
you,
talking
have you
about
ever
the
seen that
matter.
revenue come into this airport before?
Do I?
Have you ever seen that revenue number come back into the airport
I
before?
never really have to look at it.
Where have you been all this time?
Madam Chair, call.
Okay.
Where at?
Does anyone have any more questions about the map or the property?
One quick question.
Okay.
Ms. Rita,
Yes.
the proposed land,
Yes.
is there any historical document, from an environmental study to make sure there's no old fuel there in the ground and you have to remember?
Well,
Historical documents?
our fuel tanks, have you been out to the airport?
Yes.
Okay, with me? I don't remember. Okay, our fuel farm, is over here. We have above ground tanks. I've not had any indication, I don't have really good records, but I've had no environmental indications that we have ever had a fuel leak. But
15, 20 years ago.
when you were out there,
No, no.
Oh.
I've been asking.
but, as I said, before we do this expansion, there will be an environmental done, as far as I know, yes. Anybody
Okay, do we
else?
have any other questions? Commissioner Murphy?
Your airport layout plan, is that something that the airport board creates and then other agencies approve, or how does that come?
Okay, we have to redo this every 10 years. And we are required to have this by law. Because when the FAA and the state make the investment in the airports that they make, they want to make sure that you're moving forward. So that's why, as people talk about our airport growing and growing, that's what Tennessee wants to happen to their airports. We're at a massive deficit of hangars right now. I spoke in property committee about the hangar situation and the hangar wait list. We currently have 17 people on the hangar wait list. However, there are so many people that call me, they won't get on our list, they won't give me their name because our list is so long. So what that true hangar wait list could be, I really don't know that number.
But the plan though, you create that and send it to these folks, is that?
No, it's really, it's a coordination between the ADO at Memphis, TDOT Aeronautics, and the airport board, and the airport manager, and looking at the needs. What does the needs say needs to happen? So how this one was compiled, of course, I really don't know because it's 2019. But this was what I feel like the board and Mayor Lashley had agreed upon should be the vision. Mayor Lashley signed off on it in August of 2019. Yeah, in August of 2019. So as a group, that's what they arrived at. It may not stay this way. You know, like I said, this whole area down here could have a different look. It may not look exactly like this when that's developed.
Do these layouts cost us money every 10 years that it costs us
This is produced through a grant.
through a grant?
Yep.
Like a 95.5 or something like that?
Well, that's changed right now. We're under a small window where the local share has went from 5% to 2.5%. So when we have a ASAP working session later this year, I want to make sure that we look at all the projects so that we can capitalize the most that we can out of this window of time, because it cuts our local share in half. So we will assess the whole ASAP plan and move projects around if necessary to allow us to take the most advantage of that window of 2.5%.
Commissioner King, you're recognized.
On the hangers, I know it's been in the past where individuals build their hangers and then they have a contractor on. Have we ever built hangers and then charged rent when they were open?
Well, so this hangar was built by an individual. All three of these were built by an individual, and all three of these were built by an individual. Well, I'm sorry, these two. This is the maintenance hangar. It's labeled on the ALP as a corporate hangar. Number 4 is, but it's actually the maintenance hangar. This hangar was built by Mr. Lowe, Robert Lowe, Mac Lowe's father. This hangar was built by Chris White. Both of those hangars were signed over to Mr. Berry. This hangar Mr. Berry built, and this hangar Mr. Berry built. And those were assigned 20 years, I believe, on each building. What happened in this instance was Mr. Lowe passed away, and Mr. Berry purchased the remainder of his lease. All of those hangar constructions should have included a ground lease to restitute the airport for the property that it was using, but none of those actually contained a ground lease.
But his question was, have we built any in our rental and the T hangers or what? We did.
Oh, yeah, the T hangers, not any of the box hangers. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we're back to the First Amendment, which is written on paper that each one of you have. So we're ready to vote on that. Okay.
Y'all talk so much and run my battery down, so I'll have to be vocal.
Okay. You're voting on the amendment that you have in front of you on paper as it is. Okay, so everyone votes.
It's working, it's still working a little bit.
Oh,
Thank
for
you.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry. Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 11 yes, 4 no.
Okay. The amendment passed. Now we vote on the original resolution as it has been amended with the price limit of $32,000. Okay. Okay, now you're voting on the resolution as it was amended.
Mine's out, Wanda, it's no.
Your vote is no?
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 10 yes.
think Kenneth wants to change his vote.
Okay. Resolution number 6 is the same resolution. The names are different of the landowners. Says, Mayor Mark Ward to seek approval and permission to enter into execute contracts and agreements for the purchase of land currently owned by Barbara and Stanley Deaton, adjacent to the Benton County Airport for the purpose of future airport growth.
Motion to amend.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Arnold and a second by Commissioner Hall to amend. Pardon me? Original, okay. Now we need a motion and a second to amend.
I make the motion to amend.
Okay, we got, okay. Okay, do we have any questions? I think we probably just went through it all. Any questions before we vote on the amendment? Okay, there are none, so everyone please vote.
Wayne Ballard,
No.
anyone wish to change their vote? Motion passed, 11 yes, 4 no.
Now we're back to the original as it was amended. Okay, we're ready to vote on the original as it was amended.
Mr. Cobb?
No.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion passed, 10 yes, 5 no.
Okay. Number 13 on your agenda is number 7. It's a resolution by the mayor to budget additional funds in the amount of $248.92 to the Benton County Archives for the purchase of archival boxes. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Harlan. Any questions about the boxes?
Madam Chair,
Yes?
in mine it says here $2,000, that a typo on the second paragraph. Budgeted funds in the amount of $2,000.
They budgeted that last month for her to be able to order these boxes, and she went over her purchase order and what y'all approved and ordered, and so this extra amount is to go with that 2,000 to be able to pay the bill.
Okay. Anyone have any more questions? There are none, so everyone please vote.
Wayne Ballard,
Yes.
Keith Arnold. Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries, 15
Resolution 8, which is number 14 on your agenda. It's a resolution by the sheriff to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $50,000 to cover a projected shortfall in jail medical claims. I have a motion by Commissioner Price and a second by Commissioner Arnold. Any questions about the jail medical claims?
Sonny said. I got a question.
Okay.
Sure. This is projected shortfalls. We don't have a shortfall right now, or are you just thinking that we're gonna be getting some bills in?
We know we've got some bills outstanding. We have a shortfall right now.
Just in that line item, right?
Yes.
Is there any, I mean, we're at the end of the budget here, is there anything in your budget that you can transfer within your budget of the shortfalls instead of asking for additional funds? I mean, there's gotta be something you probably don't spend out, but you turn money back in at the end of the year.
I don't believe there's anywhere to be able to come up with enough money unless it was taken out of pay.
Yeah, you can't take it out of payroll, and I have to agree with them. I would normally ask the same question as you.
But just questions.
Yeah, I would normally ask that same question, and I did already. I don't see money that can be moved to cover that because, these bills with the medical, they hold them for sometimes 6 months to a year because they're trying to get the insurance to pay and get the clients to pay and different things. So I think
And he can't,
Sheriff,
he cannot predict what somebody,
he can't.
arrested somebody and they got to be taken to the hospital, they can eat you up.
Sheriff, didn't you tell me the other night that you
I
had,
understand that.
didn't you tell me the other night that you had about $140,000 worth of bills actually?
Something close to that, and they're still negotiating with them, trying to get some of that paid down, the medical company got, they work with us, trying to get a better deal. Yeah. It takes a while, just don't arrest no sick people. They're all healthy, but like the rest
Any other questions?
Badly hurt, so I tell you what, we'll let you go.
Commissioner Preston?
Yes, just information for the commissioners. I'm looking at the budget that we're operating under currently, as of now, page 40. This is the jails account. The budget for 2025 this year was appropriated $140,000 for medical claims. Look over to the left, and the actual dollars spent on medical claims for the 2023 year is better than $200,000. So budget, and we voted and passed the budget that give the jail account medical line items for the jail inmates $60,000 less than what they actually spent in 2023. I give a vote.
Yeah, you never know how many medical
Rocky.
claims you're gonna have. It's just a guess. It's just an estimate, just like a budget is.
You could have had one major, problem at the jail that year that would have shot it way out of, the normal range or what we would have budgeted. You can't go by a credit on something of that nature that's what's so volatile as that.
Anybody else? Okay, so it's time to vote. Everyone, please vote.
Dwayne Ballard,
Yes.
Bill Richards, change your vote. Motion carries 15 yes.
Resolution 9, which is 15 on the agenda, is a resolution by the mayor to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $3,450 to cover a projected shortfall in the trustees' payroll. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Price. Anyone have any questions about it?
I asked the same question, because I asked one for the sheriff, is in the budget, is there anywhere she can move that in her budget?
Unfortunately, you can't move from budget items to payroll or vice versa. So if this is payroll and it's just short, then it's because someone retired and we had to pay them out their vacation time and sick days and stuff, and it was more than we had in there.
Anyone else? Okay, there are no questions, so please vote.
Dwayne Ballard,
Yes.
Bill Richards, change your vote. Motion carries 15 yes.
Resolution 10, which is number 16, is a resolution by the mayor to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $47,000 to cover funding in the obligations of the Tennessee River Resort District for the remainder of the fiscal year. We have a motion by Commissioner Arnold and a second by Commissioner Burke. Any questions for the mayor?
I will say before y'all vote that this is their money. It's not coming out of the general fund. This account number 128 is TRRD money. It just, they don't appropriate all their money to spend during the year. They just went over what they thought on their obligations would be. So we're just appropriating it out of their ending fund balance to be able to meet their obligations.
Any questions? Okay, everyone please vote.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 17 on the agenda, which is Resolution 11, is a resolution by Mayor Ward to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $12,850 to cover funding of the cornea medical examiner for the remainder of the fiscal year. Coroner medical examiner, I'm sorry. Have a motion and a second by Commissioner Frost and Commissioner Hall. Any questions? Okay. Or none, so please vote.
Wayne Fowler,
Yes.
anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Number 18 on the agenda is Resolution 12. It's a resolution by the mayor to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $5,100 to cover funding of autopsies for the remainder of the current fiscal year. A motion and a second by Commissioner Melton and Hall. Any questions? Okay, you're recognized.
So since this resolution was written, we received more autopsies for the month of May, which exceeds this by another $3,800 or $4,000. Gene is recommending that we make this $10,000 if somebody would want to make a motion to amend this, because we're not gonna make it through June 30th, because we're probably gonna get more before June, before we get out of this budget year.
Motion to amend $10,000.
I'll second it.
I have a motion to amend the amount to $10,000 by Commissioner Arnold, and it was seconded by Commissioner Miller. Any questions about the amendment? Okay, if you're ready. Okay, we're voting on the amendment.
Yes.
Wayne.
That's 200 miles away.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Okay, now we will vote on this resolution as it was just amended.
Wayne Fowler,
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 15 yes. 3 no.
Resolution 13 is a resolution by Mayor to seek approval and permission to enter into Amendment 8 to the agreement for EMS service with Jackson Madison County Hospital on behalf of Benton County. Need a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any questions? Okay, there are any, so everyone please vote.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Okay, 14 yes, 1 abstain.
Resolution 14 is a resolution to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $500 to cover funding for the county commissioner's payroll for the remainder of the fiscal year.
Is this gonna be enough for the extra property that they've added?
Enough for what? I'm sorry, I didn't understand
Is
you.
this gonna be enough money added since they're doing extra property meetings?
I doubt it. I don't know how much that is, 35 and 5 people. Probably need to amend it to 700 next year. Because Jeannie had figured in exactly what we needed to put in here for the county commission meeting.
Chairman,
Well, yeah.
I want to amend this resolution. I want it to include that any commissioner that chooses can have a draft beer after 8 o'clock.
What about the mayor?
Okay. So the question, okay, the question from Commissioner Nunnery was, is this going to be enough to make it to the end of the year if property meets again this month? So it probably won't be.
So do we need an amendment for more?
We'll do it for free.
At the end of the month, to vote on.
There you go. It's figured in. She figured all that in, but this was decided in committee. I have to agree with Mr. Nunnery. I think that y'all should bump it up to whatever 35 times 5 is on top of this.
175. You want to add?
35 is 3750.
3750 is.
Oh, well then I'll put it
I'd
down.
say make it 700 if you wanted to amend it, just so we don't have to come back
I'll
after
make
the
that
fact.
motion. Yes.
Okay. We're voting on the amendment, which is to change the amount of $500 to $700.
Dwayne Fowler,
Yes.
you want me to change your vote? Motion carried, 14 yes, 1 no.
Okay, now you will need to vote on this resolution as it was just amended to $700. Are we ready to? Okay, now we are ready to vote on that resolution as it was just amended.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Now, would you change your vote? Motion carried, 16 yes.
Next on the agenda is appointing of the notaries. We have I have 2 names, Angela Bannister and Melissa Clendenin. Need a motion and a second? I have a by Commissioner Arnold and a second by Commissioner Melton. All for your, okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone disapprove? Okay, passed. Any other business tonight? I know we have to suspend the rules for Resolution 15. We have a couple. Does anyone want to make a motion to suspend the rules?
and the rules. Resolution number 15.
Well, we got
I think you have 8.
You wanna do,
16.
you wanna do all of them or?
You want to do all of them, Keith? 15, 16?
15, 16, whatever else, 16, 17,
Okay. 18.
take that out of order.
Okay, then the second was, we have a motion by Commissioner Bain, a second by Commissioner Arnold to suspend the rules. All in favor? Now we have to vote. We have to vote for this.
No.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy. Ms.
Mr. President?
You want me to change your vote? Motion carries 14 yes and 1 no.
Resolution 15 is a resolution by the mayor to transfer funds in the amount of $1,348.84 to cover funding of various budget line items for the remainder of the current fiscal year. I have a motion by Commissioner Arnold and a second by Melton. Any questions? Okay, there are none, so please vote.
Yes.
You want me to change your vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Resolution 16 is a resolution by the mayor to appropriate and budget funds in the total amount of $750 to cover funding of the trustees' benefit line items for the remainder of the current fiscal year. A motion and a second by Commissioner Melton and Hall. Any questions? Okay, there are none, so please vote.
Dwayne Butler,
Yes.
Dwayne, sorry. You want me to change your vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Resolution 17 has been pulled by the chairman because there were some questions as to why this did not go through property before we had the resolution. So I pulled it so that it can go through property next month. Resolution 18 is a resolution by Mayor Mark Ward to seek approval and permission to enter into and execute contract agreements with Konica Minolta Business Solutions for the Clerk and Master's Office on behalf of Benton County for renewal of contracts on equipment and accessories. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton and second by Commissioner Hall. Any questions? Okay, there are none, so please vote.
Dwayne Butler,
Yes.
you want me to change your vote? Motion carries 15 yes.
Does anyone have anything else you want to say before we close? I wanted to announce, in case you didn't look at your emails, we have a budget meeting on June the 23rd. Is that correct, Mr. Melton?
Yes.
Okay, this is their last meeting before the meeting to approve the budget for the fiscal year. So if you want to be here and be able to talk and discuss about the budget and all that is on the 23rd at 5:30.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock,
The next budget meeting, the 23rd.
23rd.
No. There's a
Yeah.
meeting tomorrow night and also on Wednesday night, 17th and 18th. The meeting on the 23rd will be, to go over all of the recommendations that will go to the commission for a vote on the 23rd.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, but, and then on June the 30th is our meeting to finalize and vote on that budget. The public meeting part will be at 5 o'clock, and then the commission part will be at 6, and that's on the 30th. That's all I've got to say. Anybody else? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Go in here.
Aye.